welcome back.
Jill Wendy Dando was an English journalist, television presenter and newsreader from Weston-super-Mare. She spent most of her career at the BBC and was the company's Personality of the Year in 1997. Jill was born at Ashcombe House Maternity Home in Weston-super-Mare, Somerset. Her only sibling, Nigel, worked as a journalist for BBC Radio Bristol before retiring in 2017. Sadly, on April 26, 1999, she got shot on her doorstep in Fulham. To this day, the killer is still unknown, but her legacy lives on around Weston. This is a story of how Jill's legacy lives on. You are watching Jill Dando, The Legacy. So first, we headed to the Well Community School to see the Jill Dando News Centre. If you could describe the Jill Dando News Centre in 3 words, what would they be?
Positivity, happiness and kindness.
Community, great atmosphere, and I know that's 3, but one more, which is going to be hard workship.
For me, the legacy in Jill Dando is about spreading good news, because as she did when she was in her career, she always tried to take a positive spin on things that happen in the world, and that's really what I want to do.
Jill Dando is an inspiring woman who went through so much, and she was an amazing news reporter, which has made the Jill Dando News Centre come about in her legacy.
I really enjoy the after-school sessions because it gives you an opportunity to talk to others who have the same interests as you while still making a difference.
I wouldn't have thought of it, to be honest. It's such a good opportunity to not only meet new people and create news, but also to improve how you speak to people, like your public speaking.
I've got the opportunity to improve everything from administration techniques to literacy to everything in the wider world. I think John Penrose, because he was such an inspiration.
Jill Dando's legacy's inspired me because I've always thought of doing some field in journalism, but not only that, sort of speaking to the locals about how they feel, and it's made me feel more confident to be able to do so. She's an amazing woman, and if you've got something you want to achieve, go for it.
Hello, my name's Nigel Dando. My sister was Jill Dando. I'm very proud to be part of the Jill Dando News Centre, but there are a number of them around Weston-super-Mare and around Somerset now, all of them named after Jill, and really to mark the fact that she was such a well-known journalist who was born in Weston-super-Mare, brought up in the town and started her journalistic career. She went really from strength to strength from the Mercury, as people will know. She left to join the BBC, initially as a radio reporter in Devon, and then subsequently shot to greater fame on national TV, the news and Crime Watch and travel programmes and everything else. It's good to see that there is an organisation like this, these news centres. I've always said that everybody in the world has probably got a story that they can tell, and they might not all be good news stories, but a lot of them are, and also the fact that a lot of them are developing inquiring minds. They're asking interesting questions and important questions as they go along their way with the news centre. These centres are helping these students to develop such skills. They may not end up as journalists, obviously, but it may certainly give them a taste for a career in journalism. I certainly hope it does.
Hi, so today we're here with Alicia, who runs the Jill Dando News Centre here at Well School. So Alicia, could you start by explaining a bit about the news centres and what you do?
Me and the Jill Dando team, the students and I, we meet every Thursday in the Jill Dando News Centre room, and we discuss all the upcoming stories. We plan our questions together. They actually during our centre, they actually run it, so I kind of sit back, just get the enthusiasm going, but they actually run the whole sort of session with the planning of the stories, the questions, bless them, even the emailing of different people sort of they want to interview.
How would you describe the legacy of Jill Dando?
I think the legacy of Jill Dando, since I've been running it, is a generational sort of thing. I think seeing her doing journalism and seeing the little ones now taking over, I mean, it even runs to our primary schools, taking such an interest in her, I would say that it's, if I could pick one word, it would be generational.
What opportunities do the students get to improve their journalism skills at the centre?
Oh, I think it varies from a whole range. I think it varies from their confidence, communication skills, rapport with their fellow students, how they interact with the people they're interviewing, literacy and improves their literacy. Yeah, I think that the main thing for me that I've seen with my students is the confidence they have gotten from basically anything's possible. I mean, we have a few of them emailing John Penrose. I have a student who's emailed the King of England. So I think that confidence in 11, 12-year-olds is absolutely outstanding. So if that would be the main thing I think that they sort of can take away from Jill Dando.
How proud does the work at all the centres do across Weston and the wider world make you feel?
How proud? Exceptionally proud. I think it's absolutely phenomenal that, like I said, we don't really run it with the stated facilitator. It's all student led. So the fact that we've got students from different schools, different ages, all sort of taking this on and taking initiative, which is huge, I think, for young people, it's absolutely phenomenal. I don't think you can explain how proud one can be, really.
My name is Liz Davis. I work for the Priory Learning Trust, and I also help coordinate the Jill Dando News Centres across the Priory Learning Trust. Jill Dando's legacy, I think, is quite far-reaching. We're trying to encourage students across the trust to very much be in her, or follow in her footsteps in the way that she used to work, very professionally, with kindness and truth in everything that she did. So we're trying to encourage students to work in that way as well. We're also being picked up our stories throughout the media, whether it's radio or television, and also hopefully, going worldwide with an international streaming service that will carry that forward as well.
Hi, so today I'm here with Alex. So Alex, first off, start by telling me, how has Jill Dando and your experience at secondary school helped your career so far?
I mean, massively. Wasn't really sure if journalism was a path for me. But again, speaking to, Mr. Dean and Nigel, and for me, it's the calibre of journalists that the Jill Dando News can attract to come and speak to you. There's Fiona Bruce, so I could read off so many now. I'm going to forget some, so I won't. I mean, you can find them out yourselves. But that helps to really make you understand what journalism is and if it's a career path for you. So there's that side to it, but also it's the freedom I think you get. So, even though it's a school newspaper, it's really not that. You're producing real journalism that goes into real people read it, whether that's online or through the Good News Post websites. And for me, it's having those live briefs, I think, is really important because you're doing it. It's not make-believe, it's not pretend, you're actually doing the job. And I think if you think you want to do journalism or any career in communications, doing it is the most important thing you can do, and that is what we were doing. So for me, that really helped me understand if it was a career I wanted or I wanted to do.
Also, how does it make you feel seeing the students now across Weston and the wider world develop their skills because of Jill Dando?
But as somebody who was one of the first, I suppose, as I said before, it's really great to see people come through from year 7 all the way through to year 11, and you can see their skills develop, and that's really exciting. And again, as someone who was here in the sort of founding days of Jill Dando News, it's really great to see. And actually, it's proof that the concept works. When students come through the whole system and engage every single point. And at the end, some go on to do media-based courses, actually carry on writing with us. And that's exciting. And actually, it's a really proud feeling. And actually, it's about they're being taught in the correct way and with great morals, great principles of how to do really good, clean, positive journalism. I think that's a really, really good thing.
Also, what are your thoughts on the legacy of Jill Dando?
I mean, I think it's hard to put into words. I mean, I think her impact is astonishing. And actually, I don't think Weston maybe at this present moment is celebrating Jill's legacy enough. And I think hopefully that the new centres have contributed to her legacy. But I don't think it's right I talk about that. I think, I think her legacy just absolutely speaks for herself.
And we're talking about legacy to Weston-super-Mare, Jill's legacy to Weston. Well, of course, she grew up in Weston, as I said earlier, and she became part of the town. She was part of the Western Dramatic Society. She took part in a number of productions at the Playhouse, and she got involved to quite an extent, really, in the social life of Weston-super-Mare. And even after she left, because I do remember she became patron of Weston Hospice Care, and not only helped them to raise a lot of money, but also by her presence, she helped to perhaps put the hospice care, the organisation, on the map. And that was very important at the time, because I remember the hospice was struggling up to a point to raise enough money to support the brilliant work that it does and all the great services. And certainly Jill helped with all that. And again, the legacy was seen when her funeral took place. The thousands of people turned out to line the streets and watch the funeral cortege go past. And that's a memory I'll always carry with me. But that's just Weston-super-Mare. And of course, Jill was well known in a much wider area, right? Really, you could say almost worldwide. There are lots of people in lots of countries will know Jill Dando, will know of her name, and will remember her as a consummate broadcasting professional who brought the news to them and also delivered various documentaries, and was really a household name at the time she died. And I think that a lot of people will remember the great work she did as a broadcaster, and really her memory lives on. It's a privilege, really, to be related to her and to know that she's still held in such high esteem by so many people.
Now we're going to head to Grove Park to see Jill's garden, which was designed and built by Alan Titchmarsh and the BBC after her death in the early 2000s. So today we're here in Grove Park to see Jill's garden that's dedicated to the memory of her life. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this interview. I'm just going to start off. What do you know about Jill Dando?
Well, I remember Jill Dando used to be on television. She had one of those plum jobs with the BBC where they'd send her on holiday and she'd have to report about how good the resort was, But she was always very smiley and happy and pretty. And then suddenly we heard that she'd been murdered, but it seemed to hit the community quite hard. And the BBC came and they made this garden. They just sent a team of gardeners and put all these trees, made a really beautiful memorial garden for her. Of course, it's a little bit run down now because, like any garden, it needs maintenance.
Of course, one of Jill's legacies was the opening of Jill's Garden. Now, that was well over 20 years ago, and it was part of these Alan Titchmarsh programmes on the BBC where they go somewhere and they make over a garden or a park or some open green space that maybe could do with a bit of tender love and affection and attention. And with the support of North Somerset Council, Alan Titchmarsh and the rest of the crew, everybody came on board and got involved in this project. And what we've had for the last 20 odd years is an absolutely smashing place where people can go in Grove Park and relax and remember Jill and just enjoy the sights and the sounds of the flowers and the fauna and all the insects that are attracted to it. And it really is a brilliant thing. And it really is a brilliant part of really a good way to remember Jill.
This concludes our journey through the legacy of Jill Dando. She will not be forgotten.
And crime-free month. And don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.